Hi, I'm Julie Bank with Oklahoma City Animal Welfare, and welcome to the August episode of Animal Tales TV, the show about Oklahoma City animals and the people who love them. Now, we have a really terrific show today, chock filled with information. First, we're going to talk about a serious disease called rabies and how you can understand more about it and what to do to prevent it. We're also going to talk about a way that you can get involved with Oklahoma City Animal Welfare and the animals at the shelter by becoming a foster parent. It's also that time of the year when you're starting to plan your back-to-school activities, and we want to bring to you some tips on how you can make sure that your animal is cared for during that time of the year. But before we move on, I'd love to introduce you to my co-host, Andy. Andy here is a 4-month-old puppy that came into the shelter as a stray. He is going to be a big dog, so he'll be perfect for somebody to be their running companion or play frisbee, or just to be their best friend sitting and watching TV. I'd like now to show you some animal welfare success stories of animals that have been adopted from the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter. So rabies is a serious disease that affects millions of people across the country. With me right now is Rachel Clinton from the State Health Department to talk to us more about rabies and, most importantly, rabies prevention. Before we start, though, who do you have here? Who's this wiggly girl?
Hi, this is sweet girl Chloe, who's very fun and feisty. She's a 2-month-old short hair, and she is available for adoption.
Perfect, and I think she wants to wander the studio right now, right?
Yes.
Cool.
She's ready to play.
So, Rachel, first of all, tell us about you and what you do for the State Health Department.
So I'm an epidemiologist at the State Health Department in the Acute Disease Service, and we're responsible for rabies consultations for veterinarians and physicians across the state. We work all cases of rabies and are just a general source for both the public and professionals as well when it comes to anything related to rabies.
So people hear the word rabies, and it is a scary, scary word for most of us. Tell us what rabies is and why we should be so concerned about it.
So rabies is a fatal viral disease that can affect both humans and warm-blooded mammals as well. And so it is one of the oldest recorded infectious diseases, going back to 500 BC. And so there is a lot of concern surrounding rabies because, again, even to this day, there is no effective treatment. Once a person or animal becomes sick with symptoms of rabies, it is fatal. There are shots that can prevent after exposure to prevent disease, but once that clinical course of infection occurs or the disease process, it is fatal. So it does create a lot of concern and panic for a lot of people.
So what type of animals get rabies, and how is it transmitted?
So warm-blooded mammals. So there is a whole host. Typically what we see in Oklahoma, the main reservoir or carrier are skunks. We also see it with bats as well, but really any warm-blooded mammals theoretically can get rabies. And the way that it's transmitted is most typically, whether it's from animal to human or animal to animal, is through a bite, but it can also occur. So the rabies virus is found, of course, in the brain, the spinal cord, and the saliva. The bite is the most common way it's transmitted, although sometimes virus from saliva can get into a mucous membrane, and that can also be a way that persons or animals can be exposed.
Now, you used the word panic a minute ago because people do hear that word and they panic. Should we really be panicking? I mean, what are the things that we should know? Is it that prevalent that every animal has it? Or, you know, what are the things? And also, what can we do to prevent it so it doesn't happen to us or our animal?
Yeah, that's a great question. So really with rabies, the key is really prevention. So, you know, it's in the United States, we have a great animal control system where we are removing stray animals. We have pretty good vaccination overall. And so really the single most important thing that people can do is to vaccinate their pets, whether it's their dog and cat or if they have livestock, including expensive animals, dairy cows and horses. That's one of the most important steps that they can take to prevent it.
And what are the signs of an animal that has rabies?
The symptoms in animals, there's a whole spectrum of symptoms. Typically it starts off, there's kind of two different what we call presentations. There's a furious form, which is kind of consistent with that old yeller presentation with the very aggressive hypersalivation. And then there's what we call the dumb form. And we also see this with wildlife as well, especially skunks. In that case, they are more lethargic. It almost looks like they're intoxicated. They may stumble around, be disoriented. So those are kind of the most common symptoms, but typically signs that we would look for in animals would be really any change in their normal behavior. They begin to become lethargic, aggressive. If they're normally a friendly animal, they may become withdrawn. Typically they'll stop eating and drinking, and then eventually the more severe neurological symptoms take place where they begin to become paralyzed, they may become blind. Those would be some of the and then eventually death occurs.
So if somebody either gets bit by an animal or their animal gets bit by an animal, or they just want more information about the signs and symptoms, the things to think about, where should they go? Is there a website that they can look at or more information?
Yes, we have a great resource on the State Health Department. So it's ads.health.ok.gov, which is our acute disease webpage. And on there we have different links. We have resources for medical staff, for veterinarians specifically, and for the general public. There's a lot of helpful fact sheets to talk about the differences, for example, with rabies vaccine, what's appropriate, the dosage, 1 year versus 3 years, some of those common questions, the most common questions that we get across the state. And there's lots of handouts and literature that they can read on there as well.
You have been so informative. I know that this is sometimes a scary thing for people to think about, but having people out there like you who are looking at this every day and helping us be more educated and protecting us from this serious disease is really important. So thank you so much for being here today. And if anybody wants more information, what's that email again?
It's ads.health.ok.gov. And then we also have a 24-hour number for consultations. It's 405-271-4060.
Perfect. Perfect. Everybody keep your pets and yourself safe from this disease. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
right now, I'd like to show you some animals that we have available for adoption at the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter. Take a look at our animal welfare welfies. So we are continuing our theme of talking about ways that you can get involved with helping animals in Oklahoma City. And with me right now is Heather Hernandez, our foster care coordinator. Heather, who do you have with you?
Well, this is my friend Tucker. He is about a year and a half old. He's a Chihuahua mix, and he's one of the many great pets we have at the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter.
So Heather, as our foster care coordinator, he is the type of animal that you might be working with, right? Tell us a little bit about what you do and what that means to be the foster care coordinator.
Absolutely. The foster care program is something that's very near and dear to my heart. It is a program that basically is an extension of the shelter. So we take animals that might not be doing very well in the shelter situation, and we send them to stay in temporary homes. These foster homes will work with things like behavior, if there's any kind of medical issues, anything that might not be treated very easily at the shelter, we can send those out and they can get extra special care there.
So they're all volunteers that do this?
Absolutely. The people that open their homes to pets in need are very dedicated individuals. It's not something to be taken lightly, and it's something that you really have to be emotionally involved in order to take this responsibility on.
Now, you personally are a foster parent and foster a lot of animals. Tell us why you foster and what type of animals do you like to work with?
Absolutely. Personally, I like to work with animals that have behavior issues. Those are my personal favorites, especially since they don't always show very well in the shelter environment. But once you get them to a home or a more calm environment, they turn into completely different dogs. So I like to take the special needs ones, the ones that just need a little bit of extra work.
And I know you also like senior pets. You like the little old ones that maybe have a hard time walking and kind of if they could, they would have a cane.
I do,
right?
Absolutely. In my mind, the grumpier Chihuahua, the better it is for my home.
Not that he's one of those.
No, he's one of the nice ones.
So if someone wants to become a foster parent, how do they get involved? Is it something they have to do on their own? Can it be a family event? What is the process?
Absolutely. So the first step you'll take in becoming a foster parent is to attend a volunteer orientation held by the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter. The information for those orientations can be found online at okc.gov/animal welfare. And we encourage families to get involved and do it together. It's not a responsibility that's going to fall solely on the shoulders of one person in the household. It definitely takes the entire family.
So if they take an animal home, is it a problem if they already have pets at home?
No, we actually think that it's better for foster animals to go into a home with other animals. It gives them a chance to be more socialized. Plus, we learn a lot more about the animal so that we can tell potential adopters.
And that could be kids too, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Children are the same. We learn more so we can give more information and hopefully make better matches for adopters.
So if you can give one piece of advice or one last thing to people about why they should become a foster parent for Oklahoma City Animal Welfare, what would you say?
Well, hopefully Tucker here speaks for himself. Animals like this need the help of people from Oklahoma City to enrich their lives and give them more opportunity to find great homes.
And you're saving lives.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely saving lives. And, of course, as Tucker just showed us, you're getting puppy kisses, too, which is a great, wonderful thing. Thank you so much for all the work that you do for the shelter. You've directly saved hundreds and thousands of lives, and we really appreciate all the work that you do. So now I'd like to turn you over to David Wagner with our Wellness Tip of the Month, all about back to school.
Well, it's almost back to school time, and what that means for your dog is they probably won't get the same amount of attention that they did during the summer months. How you can alleviate this is you can walk your dog more in the morning, a little bit in the evening, and there are all kinds of toys that you can give your dog that will occupy them for hours. One of the things you can do is you can fill a Kong toy up with peanut butter. That will ensure that your dog will have hours and hours of playtime. Another thing you can do is you can buy a ball that you can put their entire diet in, and they need to nudge it around in order to get those pieces of food out. That too will help alleviate some of the anxiety and possible destructive behavior while you're gone. Just remember, the more attention that your animal gets, the better that animal will be. They'll be healthier, happier, and so will you. And remember, Oklahoma City Animal Welfare has lots of tips on behavior and animal care on our website. And if your dog is lonely, perhaps you might consider getting your dog a friend. Come over to the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter. We're open 7 days a week from noon to 5:45.
If you want to adopt any of the animals that you saw on today's show, you can come down to the shelter. We're open 7 days a week, and we're open from 12 to 5:45. The address is 2811 Southeast 29th Street. The summer months are really difficult for animals in Oklahoma City. The Oklahoma City Animal Shelter takes in thousands of animals, a whole lot more than we take in during the fall and winter months. And these are all animals that need you and need your help so that they can have a great life. There's so many ways that you can get involved. You learned earlier about becoming a foster parent, but of course, adopting a pet is really important. Think adoption first and really come to the animal shelter to see who is available and who will fit with your lifestyle. You can also consider giving a donation to us online or consider supporting our partner organization, Patrons for the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter. Patrons is a great way for you to learn more about a nonprofit, get a tax-deductible donation, and really get involved. Whether it's donating adopting, becoming a volunteer, or being a responsible pet owner and keeping your pet out of the shelter, we encourage you to get involved and help the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter. Thank you for watching this episode of Animal Tales TV, the show about Oklahoma City animals and the people who love them. We look forward to bringing you more information about Oklahoma City animals in the future.
You're watching City Channel 20, a public service from the City of Oklahoma City.
Did you know that the arts make a significant impact on education, the economy, and our quality of life in Oklahoma? Providing more than 10,000 jobs statewide, filtering more than $314 million into our economy? Yes. The arts create all kinds of beautiful things. And making Oklahoma an even better place to live is the most beautiful thing of all. It doesn't take a big donation to make big things happen. Support Allied Arts today. A little give is all it takes.
So Oklahoma City Animal Welfare is the full-service animal organization for the city of Oklahoma City. We're actually the only animal shelter in town. So that means we take in any animal that comes through our door, whether they're healthy or sick or lost or owner turn-ins, whether it's a dog or a cat or a horse or even a wild animal that comes through our door. We are there to help and care for so many animals that are displaced and ultimately looking for new homes.
It's a big responsibility. About 24,000 animals arrive here at the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter each year. Taking care of them and finding them homes takes a lot of resources. And sometimes there isn't enough money to do everything our animal welfare professionals would like to do. That's why Patrons of the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter was formed.
You know, there are a lot of people that care about animals. And hopefully we can get those people to support the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter via Patrons, which is a nonprofit set up just to raise money to help the city under a memorandum of understanding, which we have with the city.
We realized that there were people willing to support us, but we needed to create a mechanism to help them support us. And as part of that, more conversation happened, and this idea of Patrons of the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter was formed. And before we knew it, there were all these people wanting to be part of it, and all these people creating the infrastructure and the mechanism so that they can work with us and raise funds.
A city is judged by how we take care of its animals. Oklahoma City has shown a tremendous rebirth in the last 15 or 20 years. One of the areas that we have grown significantly and have advanced significantly is in the animal welfare realm. There is no greater place to put your money, no bigger impact that you can have on the Oklahoma City community and the animal community than by giving to patrons and helping to support the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter.
Your tax-deductible donation to Patrons of the Oklahoma City Animal Shelter will help support the life-saving programs of Oklahoma City Animal Welfare. The proactive programs include helping animals to find homes, educating the community, and providing resources to assist with responsible pet ownership.
People really want to help and to make a difference in the lives of animals and to make Oklahoma City the best place for not only people but animals as well. And Patrons was able to be formed just because of that energy and that desire from the communities.
Down here. That dog has a thirsty look in his eye. Did you know that it's really not that hard to save water? Like here in the sink. Don't make me run too much. Could somebody shut me off? Now this is my kind of party. A full house. Let's roll. Hey, we're in a drought, which means I'm kind of a big deal. So save me. Really? Save me!